Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 558, and today we're doing battle with the Berserker and Backpack Battles. And so, I believe this is going to be our last gameplay video of Backpack Battles. We've made it through for about a month. I checked Steam, we've played it for like 125 hours. I feel like that's much more than necessary to get a pretty decent review of the game. I was hoping to get ourselves up to Masters. I really tanked some LP over the course of the weekend, and so I don't think that that's really going to be on the table, but nonetheless, I had a pretty good time with the game. Let's see if we can't eke out one more victory here before we move back to the space of Legends of Runeterra. And so, new ranked game button, begin. Let's dive on in. And so, what I've been really kind of having success here in recent days with the Berserker tends to start off with swords, and you're looking to build the swords out either into a hero sword, which you then turn into a steel goobert, or you look to turn it into a arcane torch. And so we'll see if that brings itself together. I'm not really amped about picking up whetstones on the first round. This is why we brought up this entire discussion. And, you know, do you want to really try and pick up a super fast sword? And we could, but let's at least start off with this. We're going to pick up these on sale items for sure. And then with that 8 gold, we can get 2 of the 3 remaining things, or we could kind of roll and see what happens from there. I'm not the hugest fan of rolling on the first turn, but these items all do kind of suck. And so I wouldn't be opposed to, say, just picking up the onion and then rolling and see where we go from that. At least it gives us a little bit of a potential food start, maybe get something going with it. And so, all right, yeah, still not that great. We'll pick up the dust that's on sale. We'll pick up the broom. We'll convert that into the shovel, so we can get the economy-based item going here a little bit more quickly. And then I think this is where we want to go from there in terms of, let's at least get our weapon in the attacky bag. I think I'd rather have the wooden buckler than the garlic. It just it should be stopping around a damage per second, to where the garlic is a little bit slower than that in terms of armor gain. And so let's dive on in, see what we can do. Okay. The old Pyromancer, they got a bit of a hero sword thing starting up. Looks like we're probably going to struggle to win this round. We don't have any sustain, and so the Battle Fury was popping off, though. Oh, just nailed him right at the end. Got that hammer hit in. Good stuff. Good stuff. And so, how are we going to upgrade? And so this is looking, like it's definitely pointing towards that hero sword whetstone kind of thing, but we don't have the money to purchase the whetstone, the wooden sword, and the leather bag, and I'm not even opposed to picking up the banana as well. And so the thing I would kind of like to do with this is make sure that we get 2 out of the 3 items that we really want, and that way we can lock one thing and then refresh the shop the most. Now, I think the way we'll want to go about this is just locking the bag, right? If we purchase the bag this round, it's just not going to do anything, and that will let us get both the sword and the whetstone, fill that into the bag nicely, and then we'll just reserve the bag. The banana can go. It's something nice to have in the early game, but I don't feel like it's worthy of a hold. Okay. Quite a bit of sustain. The double banana coming out of our friend here. Not nearly enough damage. And okay, interesting stuff. We've got the rainbow badge turning up. And what I typically do with the rainbow badge is just go food every time. And so I'm not opposed to the idea to picking up the badge and just going towards food. But the thing with this is, like, when you stop and pick it up, it's like, what do you really want to do with this? With the Berserker. And so if you think in terms of the Pyromancer, you're not really building towards any mage type items, although you can get access to the flames out of the blacksmith thing, which ties into the mage stuff a little bit, or you can also look to pick up the crit wand. Like, we can still use the mana based objects. It's just not something that's very Berserker centric. Same thing is even worse with the warlock, with the Reaper. The only thing I really like getting out of the Reaper class is like the food, and it's not even that good. It's just even less in tune with what you're trying to do with the Berserker, right? I'm not trying to pick up the deck of cards or anything out of that class. And then the Ranger is the one that should have the most synergies. It's just when it comes to the Ranger, to me, you're typically looking to build around some of the weapons, and the weapons within Berserker are just much better than the bows. But you do have some opportunity to build towards thorns if that turns up, and so you do get some decent thorn items out of the Ranger, right? And so it's not horrible in that sense. We can filter this down, right? You can come and pick up the Tusk Poker to generate the thorns, and then the Tusk Piercer to gain a little bit at the start and then spend them, and that works nicely with the Claws of Attack that we build a ton of with the Berserker. And so a bit long-winded. I think we'll still pick up the Rainbow Badge. It was nerfed in this patch to where it takes 7 seconds to activate instead of 5, but I think that will be fine. Otherwise, this all works out nicely in terms of money, right? We can get the bag and the badge, that's 9, and then the tusk gets up to 11 to on board with it. And then we did randomly generate blueberries at the bottom, which is kind of nice if we do look to build towards food stuff with the rainbow badge. All right, not bad. This guy doing poking at us and stuff. He's got a bow. He's got the double whetstone. I was hoping it's like usually a decent round to hopefully take them down when they have the double whetstone and they haven't upgraded yet. Just a little bit short, came right down to the wire there. And so yeah, how do we feel about this? There is the short bow, which we could now immediately upgrade into the Tusk Poker with the Walrus Tusk, and then look to get the thorns based items going. The downside to pushing after this kind of thing is you really need a lot of Walrus Tusk to turn up, and then if they don't turn up, then you're kind of falling flat, right? The Berserker itself doesn't have thorns based items, right? And so if you look at the Ranger, if you really want to, you can use the Poison Ivy to gain a bunch of thorns or to do thorns based stuff. But that's just not something that exists with the Berserker, right? And so the Spiked Collar doesn't really count in terms of what you're going to be getting out of it. So it's kind of tough in that sense. It's a Flame Whip. So I guess we could make a Flame Whip if it comes down to it. Use a Thorn to generate the heat. Okay, I don't think that's going to be on the table. But like, how would we really want to approach this? I typically like things like the Bloodthorn as being a Thorns generator. But then are we going to really look to build towards Tusk Piercers? I could see it. The bows don't take too much stamina, so maybe we can get this going. All right, let's go in. Let's just go in with the thorns. I think it'll be neat. So I will say at this point, I'm pretty certain the path to try and take out of this is to take the Fly Agaric and the Garlic and probably also the Health Potion and then try and push towards food, but we're gonna do the big stuff here today. We're gonna pick up this short bow and we're gonna chase down the thorns. And so, interesting update here as well with another whetstone to potentially make a wooden sword or to make a hero sword. I think I'm ready to just abandon this idea. If we're going to be going after the Tusk Poker, then we're just not going to have the room for it, and we're not going to be building towards Gooberts. And so I'm just going to go ahead and sell these. I'm hoping to be able to come in and still just get this bag, which it looks like we'll have the money to do. And then we can upgrade into the Tusk Poker out here. It might have been a bit of a preemptive sell in terms of what we have on the board, but I think that'll be okay. Now, I think we just keep the health potion here. I don't really want to upgrade it into a mana potion. I don't think we're going to be using mana too much over the course of this run. And then this flame is pretty much free. It only costs 1 mana, so we can sell it if we want to later. All right, getting the bows out, doing the Robin Hood thing with the old Berserker. That's what you were meant to be doing, right? It is kind of an interesting ideal, and if we're able to say assemble two of these tusk pokers or whatever it's called, the thorns based bow that generates thorns, and then also have the claws of attack together, which give you bonus attack speed whenever you generate thorns. It's like I think we can get some interesting stuff together with this if RNGesus blesses us. Excuse me, it would be much better, in my opinion, if we just had the ranger badge instead of the rainbow. But I think this is okay. Yeah, see, this is where you can start to see the food pop off, right? Having these on sale chili peppers. I just don't think we can afford that at this point, right? I'm going to end up selling the blueberries and the garlic, and we're just not really going to have any food up and running. So we'll just ignore that. I am interested in the leather armor. This is a pretty reasonable time to look to just be getting rid of this wooden buckler. And so if we're going to be taking that into account, we can pretty easily fit the leather armor in down here. I think that would be our ideal armor, right? I don't want to really go after the vampiric if we're going for bows. I don't want the stone armor if we're going to go for multiple weapons. And so I think the dragon armor is really the only one that's going to be effective. All right, I think that's okay. I guess we could rearrange this a little bit. Just get the garlic within the bag as well. Sure. All right, off to battle. Maybe we should have just picked up the chili pepper and replaced the garlic with it, generating those flames instead of the armor. Yeah. It's like we're crushing through this round, though. Building up them thorns. Feels good. Well done, team. Well done. And so, all right, what do we have here? We picked up, oh, wow, look at that. We picked up a walrus tusk off of the shovel. Nice. I was really thinking of selling the shovel on the previous turn, and I guess we're pretty glad that we didn't. That's just a massive thing. These cost 4 gold apiece, so to dig up 4 gold and have it be on point for what we're trying to do, pretty spectacular. And so we got another walrus tusk in here. Definitely want to snatch that up. As far as the rest of this goes, we are getting a little bit strapped for bag space here, but I don't want any of these items. Again, I don't think we're going to do anything with the blueberries. Okay, so we do pick up another bag. I can get behind that. And then what about this other stuff? I don't think this is a place to where we'll ever want the holy armor. So you gotta check out the pyromancer though, right? You can build it up to the sun armor, depending on how we build. I don't think this is where we want to be. We could technically take like the shaman mask, which generates a bunch of random buffs, and you use those random buffs to fuel the sun armor, but I don't think that's really going to be on the table. All right, so let's get this pushed up a little bit. We'll get our speed type items within the better bag. Something like that. Can still afford to have the buckler out here, and I think I'd rather have the buckler than the second walrus tusk. So that looks reasonable. Let's get in there. Let's go boom them. Three walrus tusks. That feels good. That feels good. We just gotta find a bow. Gotta find some gloves. I'm not certain how the stamina is going to hold up in this round. We could see ourselves draining here. We do still have this shovel, which we don't really intend to keep forever. But if we're planning on having like 4 items out here, then we probably need to find some yellow potions, or we need to find some flutes to help fuel the stamina. Otherwise here, though, don't want the carrot. We're not going down the food route. The demonic flask is interesting. I did have a kind of food-based rainbow badge build the other day with the staff of the unholy and the berserker. It was pretty mid, but it's one of those things that becomes possible as you advance through here. Now here's where it gets interesting, right? We have the bow and arrow turn up, and so we're not, you know, super likely to have a bunch of these ranger items turn up because we're seeing stuff from the every class. But like, do we really want to go after the bow and arrow? Because, you know, we're not going to be super likely to see another tusk piercer. And so I'm kind of up in the air with it as to where you do get a nice boost of thorns at the beginning, right? You get that +3 thorns, but then you immediately start burning through them. When the starred weapon hits, you spend the thorns, and the next attack with the tusk piercer deals a bunch of damage. And I was really kind of in my head thinking that we would look to just scale up in terms of the thorns. And so if we have, say, like 2 claws of attack, which would be this item that attacks faster when you have thorns, and then it gives you the empowered bonus, it just ties in really nicely to having a whole bunch of weapons. I was like, okay, well, if we have like 2 claws of attack and 2 of the little tusk piercers, then that's a nice little combo to where the tusk piercer has the chance on hit to generate thorns. The on hit, or the thorns, then make our claws of attack faster, and then with the faster attacks from the claws of attack, we get more empowered, which then boosts up the attack of all of our weapons. And I think that that's where we want to go. I'm not super interested in actually burning through our thorns, and so I'm going to pass on the bow and arrow and hope some of the stuff we're looking for does come through and turn up. Right, so here's the weapon we had considered in the Hungry Blade. I'm kind of interested. Again, the Hungry Blade is going to be this one up here. Try to convert it into the Bloodthorn to where you can spend the regen to get vampirism and thorns. And so the thorns are what we're looking for. The vampirism isn't as spectacular when you're using bows, but I kind of think that that's where we want to be. So let's look here and start selling some of this crap in our bag. Crap bag. That's one of my favorite lines from the show Friends. Is what's her name? Phoebe finds out that when she's getting married to Paul Rudd, she gets to change her name, and so she wants to make it something completely ridiculous, like it's like Persephone something. I know Persephone's not that crazy of a name, but it's like Princess. I feel like Princess was a piece of it. Princess Persephone something. I don't quite remember, but Paul Rudd says if she's coming up with that, he's going to change his name to Crap Bag. First name Crap, last name Bag. Love it. This is good stuff. Well, let's see here. Let's dive back in. Let's get the focus back onto the backpack battles. We got the Bloodthorn. It has kind of really amped up our stamina usage, so I think we will have to sell the shovel just to keep the stamina in line. It's done its job, right? It's given us the Walrus Tusk. It's given us 2 gems. The gems are actually pretty interesting if we want to get the Shaman Mask. And now we have, 2 sockets along the way. That's kind of nice. And I like what's turned up there. And so let's see how we can push forward with this. Let me rearrange the weapons a little bit. We don't have a ton of stuff that actually activates out of the duffel bag. And I do kind of like the idea of the flames in this build. If we're going to be if we're going to be like really looking for that attack speed, then they are a reasonable addition to just give us a little bit more cycle through our skills, get those attacks happening faster, get the scaling up a little bit quicker, and so pretty good. But nonetheless, I think we can dive in with this. I will note we were kind of losing our Walrus Tusk into the Wooden Buckler. I was about to hit play, realized what was going to happen, and then locked it. You can actually lock these things in combat. That's one of the things I just discovered yesterday, as to where we're in combat, you see the spiked shield coming together, you can still mess with that, and so you have a little bit of opportunity to change your build around edit based on what you think the outcome of the round is going to be, or way more commonly in my case, you just forgotten. You have your oh shit moment right once you get into the middle of battle. Okay, so how are we going to push forward with this one? I don't want the pack leader. We're not doing pets this game. That's fine. I do like the empowered boost if you have the claws of attack. We haven't seen any at this point. I think we'll get some eventually. Otherwise, don't want the chieftain. We're not going to build towards battle rage, or I'm sorry, we're not going to build towards mana, so we don't want it. And then that leaves us with either the brass knuckles, the anvil, or the shaman mask. And again, with the anvil, I typically prefer this to be with a with a singular weapon kind of comp. So if we're building towards a busted blade or we're building towards a double axe, just giving all of that damage and the stamina usage reduction and all that shit attached to that one item feels pretty good. But where I'm kind of interested in the anvil with this is, what if we just put the weapon damage and stuff on our hungry blade, and then we do get to still come out and just generate a bunch of flames. That's probably not enough, right? If say we have 10 flames, that's 20% heat, which is kind of nice, but it doesn't really feel like enough to pay off. I think I would really prefer to just be within the singular weapon. And so that leaves us with two more choices, right? We have the brass knuckles. This is what we pursued in the previous video, to where your build just needs something kind of generalized, right? We haven't been building towards a singular weapon for the anvil. We're not building towards mana. We're not building towards pets. We haven't put any gem baskets or whatever they're called in for the shaman. And so it's like, well, there's no negative to the brass knuckles. The on-hit stun is kind of nice, and then you give crit to the items around it, which is what's nice in this build if we're looking to actually carry 4 and 5 separate items. The last thing, though, is I do really like the shaman mask. If we're building towards that thorn blade, we do need a way to generate health. We need, to generate hearts. And we currently don't have any way to do that. And so it sucks to have to include things like heart container within your build to just come in and generate those. It doesn't really fit on theme with what we're doing otherwise. And it kind of sucks to just have random cheeses and hope that the cheese like spikes what you're wanting it to. And so I could definitely see the shaman mask working a little bit if we do look to build that, what is it called? The hungry blade, right? Or the bloodthorn, to where we just need that those hearts to sell. And so I'm kind of on board with going with the shaman mask. Like, I feel like we're at a very high rolly point within this build anyways, and why not just roll a little bit higher? And so hopefully it plays out. Now, this has been a very nice item with the box of riches turning up immediately. This is actually a pretty good shop for what we're trying to do. So we'll take the bag. We'll take the box of riches. We definitely want the gloves of haste. That's going to let us build into the claws of attack. And so that's just exactly where we wanted to be. You can wrap the gloves with 2 attack-based items. Now, I'm planning on just selling this wooden buckler. It's really kind of served its purpose at this point. So let's just take a roll. We don't want the deck of cards. We don't want the flask. See if anything else interesting turns up. And oh, we got a flute. Definitely interested in the flute. And so, do we have the bag space to make this work? We can get rid of the garlic at this point. We're not going to actually use it. And then we should have it just over somewhere like this. We can move the box of riches up this way. I think here's what we'll probably need to do. Let's get as much within that flute as we can. It's looking good. Looking good. Do we want to go ahead and grab this flawed sapphire as well? Probably do. We'll sell off the dust. Pick up the flawed sapphire. We can put it somewhere. Found it. Found the place. I'm not opposed to having the flawed sapphire with the shaman mask as well. So it does give you a ways to kind of generate a little bit of mana, which you can then convert into armor. And so I think that looks good. We could get a little bit better usage out of these bags at the bottom, but whatever. Okay. Moving right along. See how some of this stuff works. So, right, you see you got the Shaman Mask activates, it generates those hearts. Then we're hopefully going to have the hearts to use with the Hungry Blade. You can see our, what's this, vampirism shooting up as that combo kind of came together. All right, all right. What do we got now? This is a good rune, right? Oh, the attack speed one? That's not bad. So definitely want to snatch it up. We want this bag. We'll pick the flame because it'll fit. What we're looking for at this point, ooh, nice, our second Gloves of Haste, is we would like to, we need to find the Thorn Whip, right? We're looking to get that within the comp. We looking to find, that's got to be like a turn we're going to play it. We're going to have to like just lose the round probably and then move forward from there. But we're looking for the Thorn Whip. Otherwise, stamina is going to be a problem. We're currently at medium. We're about to add in another weapon. These Claws of Attack don't take a ton up front, but they do attack really fast. And so that stamina cost starts to add up. We're going to look to get that going as well. But beyond that, trying to think of where we would want to go. Feels like I'm missing out on something in here. We'll circle back to it. So, all right, how can we get this Gloves of Haste? I think we would probably just sell the health potion at this point. Not really interested in using it. Get this Gloves of Haste in here. We do need to get our thorn thing down to the bottom. Let's do it this way. So we can start putting, So we can start putting the quickness on our flute. Do we ever get the space to put the flute within the bag? Yeah, that looks like that'll work out kind of nicely as well. Where'd the tusk go? Does feel like a bit of a waste with these two fanny pack slots down at the bottom, but I think that'll be fine. So I'm going to put the attack speed into the Claws of Attack. I guess we'll just do it like this so we can upgrade the Emerald. I'm not like super certain how you should actually look to pull this off, right? How we're upgrading these gems, but that does make it tougher for the Shaman Mask to generate these lucks at the start of the round. I could definitely see not upgrading anything until you progress further into the game. But, you know. You know. How's this look? That stamina's holding up decent so far. We're about to start crashing out on it. Get to hear all them little toots when all of our when all of our items start trying to pop off. All right, so what do we have here? The Lucky Clover's fine. Only costs 1. We can sell it if we don't want it. Same thing with this chipped topaz. Otherwise, don't really want those items. Don't want any more Hungry Blades. I guess we can pick up the bag. We're pretty full in terms of what our bags are producing. Or we're pretty empty for the bags at this point, so don't really need to get a ton of that going. And where do we stand? That all looks pretty decent. Want to have all of our good attacky stuff within the bag, so maybe that'll work a little bit better. These giant armors are a little bit awkward for the flute, and so it's only taking up 2 slots at this location. We'll probably find a better one eventually. That looks good. I like putting on-hit effects onto the Claws of Attack. Let's just put the poison one in there. Otherwise, keep the topazes out for the moment. Just give us a little bit of stamina regen. I think that's okay. So yeah, it's coming along. We're getting there. We may not find the world to where we get a second Tusk Poker, but I think this is coming together otherwise. I really like the ideas that we have behind this draft that we've assembled. Zinged us. Got the big crits in right at the end. All right, let's keep it up though. It's looking good. So I think we want the stamina sack. This doesn't feel like the kind of build to where we want 2 box of riches. It just seems kind of late in the run to want to add in the second one. I think that we're really just using it to activate the shaman mask, and we're not trying to just get a bunch of super good gems all over the board. So we'll skip over that one. Definitely happy to pick up a hawk rune. Probably want to pick up the helmet while it's on sale. Got another flame in here as well. It's coming together. So I think this is probably the route that we'll want things to go. We want the bows to attack as fast as they can to try and generate the thorns. Our big damage dealer is the hungry blade, so we'll put the hawk sword in here. And we've got the badger rune within the gloves, and then an on-hit effect within the gloves. I like that. Shit. Okay. It's so easy to just rearrange these bags in a way you don't want it to go. That looks good. Our flute's in a pretty good place here. Just need to find a need to find that thorn whip, and then we need to find some more flutes. I like where we're at. Zinging us down early. We're not healing through that massive poison. He had 62 poison on us there at the end as we were battle raging. Strong stuff. Okay, there is a corrupted crystal if we want to come in and upgrade the cap of resilience. I kind of like it. Pushing up to that that full 5 seconds of damage reduction is pretty good. It is fairly expensive for the corrupted crystal. They tend to turn up quite a bit throughout the run, so I think I'm actually going to skip over that. And I really want to find claws of attack, or here's another walrus tusk. I'm really wanting to find the thorn whip, and so we'll see how that goes. Now, do we want a second leather armor? I'm not opposed to it, right? The thing that I kind of like about the cap of resilience and all the dragon scale armors is we are a bit of a scaling comp, right? We need to generate all of the thorns to really get the attacks and everything up and running, and so just getting that big boost in terms of survivability should hopefully let us do that. You're typically, at least to me, when I typically play the Berserker, you're doing like blessed blade builds that just try to crit your opponent out as quick as you can, and that's not really what we're doing here today. So maybe this is okay. Let's pick up the second armor. It's like I look at this and I'm like, fuck, we're gonna have to rearrange to get this get this forging hammer down at the bottom. Let's just do it this way. Just rip it out of the bag. I think that's fine. I'm not gonna min max with these attack speeds. Sure. And then do we want to grab this leather bag? We probably need to. Like we need to find that turn to where we get the whip in, and it takes up an awkward 6 slot kind of 9 hex kind of space, and so I worry about being able to do that. Stamina's aced. Still got him though. Okay. There's that bag. Ooh, another flute. Good stuff. I think we'll pick up this bag as well. Gets us pretty close to just being kind of finished with filling out all of the space. I'm looking to do something like this. Here, let's actually... The place I will put these bags to make them relevant is with the flutes, so we can then rotate the hungry sword, get it in that direction. Now we have the 2 flutes with the 20% speed within the bag. That looks pretty decent to me. Start moving these dum-dums out to no man's land, to where they can't just eat up all of our space. Okay, that looks good. Now, make sure we're happy with this. We got the flutes in the duffel bag, our 4 weapons in the duffel bag. Everything else we just need to get out in front of the flutes. And this is the kind of perk to having these 1 hex items with the flames and the lucky clovers turning up. Makes it very easy to stack off on these flute spaces. Sure. I think that looks good. Let's see if our opponents agree. Uh-oh, this is scary with the double chain whip stripping away all of our thorns. This is not the kind of comp we want to go up against. We hit our battle rage well before he did. And so we might be able to sustain through it, but yeah, getting all of our hard-earned buffs stripped away, not quite where we want to be. So with this stuff, don't really want any of it. You can see here that this is the heart container I was talking about earlier. If you do want to have the hearts for the Hungry Blade, you're really limited in what can generate them. And these just like 12 mana heart containers within a comp that can't really use it just doesn't feel very good. And so glad we didn't have to do that. Otherwise, this seems like a more reasonable time to pick up the Corrupted Crystal. Snatch that one up. Got a bag, sure. Gem, sure. All right. Are there any sockets open? Here we go. So yeah, we're getting close to that final battle space in here. I hope that we're able to come into one of these survival rounds. What is this guy doing? Just going max thorns? Jesus, that's another one that's scary for us to see. Dude has like 1 billion armor. Man, I thought it was going to be much easier to get through this final battle, this final build. I thought we were looking decent in terms of pulling that off, but this has been a real struggle here. But having an on-sale shield does look pretty good. We can add it in down here. We can probably get our other dragon scale down here without too much re-maneuvering. My actual least favorite part of this game. So I think that'll be okay. Get this down here. Looks like if we want to pull this off, we'll be 1 hex short. If we want to use that last slot within the duffel bag. Yeah, whatever. That's as good as you can do sometimes. You just gotta give it a, whatever. So that looks good. Let's fill out this bottom one. And then we'll circle back and start rolling from here. Do we ever want to pick up the Jinx Tortilla? I don't hate it. I'm curious what the spacing looks like with it. If we can really come in and just hit all of our important things, which it's pretty close to doing. We can kind of rearrange the weapons a little bit to make this play out better, but it should be able to hit most of the weapons. What if we put it on this end down here where our hat is? That falls a little bit more short. It doesn't hit the far end of the duffel bag. But I'm interested here as it's hitting both flutes. It's hitting the 2 mid slots and 1 left slot within the duffel bag. This gives us a lot of attack speed. Sure. And I'm going to purchase this Flawed Sapphire as well, right? If we don't win this round, then it doesn't really matter as far as money goes, because the game is just over. And so we'll go ahead and try and make sure that we are as strong as we can on the round. So I think this is good. We've got the Jinx Tortilla on everything. Is there an active 80 kind of thing for 1 hex that we can fit in here? Probably not. I'm not going to deal with that. Okay. Want the tusk thing in. It can go up top. Here's the flame. I think I'd rather have the clover in than the flame. You can do that. I guess you could technically just pull the box of riches out as well. If we're just gonna take it out, we could just sell it. If we're gonna sell it, I could see just picking up the cheese. Okay, sure. All right, I think that's going to do it. I think our build is definitely improved here at the end. We've got just the big attack speeds, the big upgrades everywhere. Our Shield of Valor turned up at a nice time to really help all this stuff through. The Shield of Valor does work with the flutes as well, so we can get some usage out of that. Oh my god, I just realized, are we... we're able to do something like this, aren't we? Shit. Oh, well... how worthwhile is that? God damn it, quit. And I can manage through this pretty quick, I think. So if we go this way, now we get both the flutes, and then we're going to look to put this guy up at the top. Shit. I'm sorry, fam. I'm sorry we got to rearrange again. God, this is a big one too, isn't it? Okay. That's just got to be a little bit better. Now we get both of the armors and both of the flutes around the Shield of Valor. Yeah. I'm going to put the Tusk's Poker to where I think... Oh, this just all around seems better. We hit all of our... Now we hit like all of our attacky stuff except for the Hungry Blade within the Tortilla. We got the good items back within... Okay, that's probably just all around better. Didn't take too long. All right, let's dive in. Squeeze them cheeks. Looks like a dust comp that didn't get very many dust. Maybe we can do it. All right. We got the big takedown. Didn't even go into the battle rage. That's good. So I think under normal circumstances, I'm not certain if I would just take the win. It doesn't seem like a comp that's completely hit. It seems like this is probably one that's at a good spot to just stop and take your winnings where you've got them. But if this is going to be our last Backpack Battles gameplay video, I feel like we got to just trudge on, move forward, see if we can't go big on the final one. And so let's see how this plays out. Got a bag slot down here for certain. I don't think we really need blood amulets. I mean, we do have a lot of good melee stuff, but I don't think it's really on the table. This will be our first spiked collar of the game. Definitely glad to pick it up. Still not finding any of those whips. Okay, so let's see. We got a short bow out here as well. We are gonna want this badger rune. So let's start selling some stuff to get these in. We can line up like this, lock in the rune. We could just sell the cheese if we wanted to. It doesn't really do a ton, right? It's realistically going to activate like once or twice. So let's just go ahead and get rid of it. We'll pick up the badger rune while we're at it. I like how that works. What else do we got in here if we want to go ahead? This is the point to where I don't think we really want to upgrade these gems. I'm more interested in just generating the generating the clovers off of the mask, and so let's not upgrade. I can see that this flawed emerald's trying to upgrade out here, but I'm going to skip on that. Do we ever want to make this shield? I just saw that we can generate the pyromancer shield. Right, the thing that is interesting with these type of shields is that it's on attack. Right, if we go out and look at our thing right now, it just says on melee attack, but this puts it at that point to where it gives you the prevention chance on all of the attacks. I bet we do. How do we ever how do we ever get these bags in here though? Let's just do this. I'm just gonna bite the bullet on one round. Oh. Can we make something like this work? Oh, it's not gonna be within the zone anyways. Okay. Sure. Yeah, this dum-dum's just not going to fit anywhere. Is that better? I'm not going to get that last slot off the flute, whatever. Okay. I guess good enough. Look at that, our stamina usage shot up to very high, though. Maybe adding in this other bow wasn't the worthwhile way to go about it. Looks like we're going to get crit super hard this round. It would have been very nice to have the upgraded shield. Like, this is the exact problem, right? He's blasting with this ranged Staff of Fire. The Shield of Valor only stops the melee hits. Oh, shit. Oh, he's a... Fuck. I was like... yeah. I didn't realize he was gonna res. Like, I saw him just shoot way down. And I was like, oh, boy, this is it. This is our chance, our time to shine. And it was not. It was... we hadn't fought through nearly enough of that. All right, well, here's the Thorn Whip as well. Our stamina is pretty fucked at this point, but we're going to carry on. We're going to carry on. I'm leaning towards just, like, taking these flawed topazes out of the sockets so that we can get the additional stamina regen that way. Hopefully that helps with something. We can even get a banana in here now. We haven't seen a single yellow potion, though. That's a fairly big pain point in here. Oh, we could have... Fuck, on this last round, I forgot we have this Cap of Discomfort up at the top. We could have just moved it away from the Sun Shield and put our flames up there. Ugh. Aight. Let's get in there, though. Yeah. What's this guy doing? Got the big sword? The big axe, I should say. Round lost. Couldn't quite get there. Nonetheless, fun stuff. And so interesting battle. You know, I feel like that was a nice draft to have come together for our last backpack battle out here, really chasing after the Thorns in an interesting way. And so, you know, everything that we needed for this comp didn't really come together. It was a bit of a stretch to really assume that we would get all of the stamina regeneration and all of the items that we were actually looking for out here. But I think this is kind of an interesting build and an interesting way to come out and take advantage of the additional classes that you can get access to. It's kind of tough to visualize branching outside of your class and how to make it work. And I think that we did a good job here in determining that we could get the thorn generation out of the ranger. We can tie that together with the gloves of attack, which are quite strong. And then we can use the shaman mask to really keep everything up and running. As we look at this again, you know, I think here at the end, we probably could have looked to have, say, just gotten rid of the Hungry Blade and then kept up the two Claws of Attack, the two Tusk Pokers, and just say, like, you know, the idea of generating hearts to fuel the Hungry Blade was kind of cute, but you don't really need it at this point. And with the Thorn Whip taking so long to actually turn up, that might have been a better way of going about it. But outside of that, I think it was an interesting build. I had a good time with it. I think it came together, you know, nicely for a kind of outside of the box approach to what you can do with the Berserker, and just not being like, oh, cool, I found the rainbow badge. Guess I'm going food, right? We saw a lot of the good food turn up. I know we passed on like 2 or 3 chili peppers, and we passed on a few fly agarics. I know there was maybe 1 or 2 carrots as well. And so that's why I typically go towards the food, is just having cheeses with chili peppers with Excalibur is quite strong. But I didn't want to do that. I feel like it's already been done. But nonetheless, good stuff, good battles. I plan on doing a review video for Backpack Battles next. That should be coming up in the next day after this. And then we'll be kicking off in Legends of Runeterra on Wednesday for about the next month or so. And so I still want to keep this monthly kind of cadence of things to where we play a different game each month, or play a different game for about 100 hours or so. I feel like we can get the Legends of Runeterra through in the month of May, play Path of Champions through the month of June, and then probably switch to a non Legends of Runeterra-esque game for that last month. And then if the cycles work the way I thought Riot said that they were going to work, that should get us right back in the time to play more Legends of Runeterra with an expansion release or a change of some sort. But with the new management coming in, there's no telling what things are actually going to look like there. But nonetheless, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hope we maybe learned a thing or two along the way. You had a good time watching. This is Busted Me. Thank you for being here.